chance. Let's go into match number 3. We have ETC versus Firebat. This match is pretty important because with Firebat not really being able to make the playoffs, may have something else, which is not looking forward but behind. He may have a relegation spot that's hot behind him. But I think a lot of that has been fixed with Strifecrow losing to Purple today.
Yep.
So Firebat should be safe because Strifecrow at best can get 4 wins. Now, it goes the opposite way.
Is that mug really big, or is Firebat just really small?
Firebat is a very average-sized human being, so I would say that that mug is really big, TJ. Or Firebat's just really happy to see me.
I'd like to think that Firebat's just really small, and that's a normal-sized mug. At least that's probably what Firebat's trying to imagine right now.
Firebat's just like a Tinkerbell.
Look how small I am.
Hey, listen!
All right, let's get into it.
It's the rubber match. ETC with a win here can guarantee himself a spot into Grandmasters the following season.
Yeah.
With a defeat here, comes down to the final match between him and Strifecrow. And we will have to look at the tiebreakers beyond that.
Yeah.
We're going to start things off with the Priest Mirror. Priest Protect on both sides, Druid Band on both sides.
Dan, I was getting worried there for a couple matches. I thought something had gone wrong, but now I'm glad we're back to normal.
Well, the people that didn't protect Priest end up losing that series. Where Strifecrow protected Quest Shaman, lost that. Eddie protected Quest Druid, lost that.
Is someone injured?
Could be a trend. Firebat, I like this play. He's trying to not get blown out by health buff plus inner fire by playing Northshire Cleric and the Powerwood Shield with the coin. He has a Met in hand, so you might, be thinking, oh, well, he'd be closer to a Met. But this matchup entirely hinges upon having control over the board, and one of the most popular plays to punish when you're on turn 1 and have a 1-drop is to Beaming Sidekick, Powerwood Shield, and Inner...
Hey, I got you, friend.
I'm sorry.
2 hands for safety.
I know, that... if Firebat wins, we have to ask him where he got his mug.
I wonder if Firebat wants to utilize silence in this position whatsoever.
Firebat does have only 1 copy of silence in his deck. But
must consider.
In this matchup, it's not often good enough to quote-unquote save it for a rainy day. Because sometimes the rainy days are just so rainy that you'll never escape from the rain for the rest of your life.
Or, if you can't escape the rain, you can collect all of it in that mug.
Yes, you could. So I think I just like the silence and getting on board as aggressively as possible. Makes sense to me.
I'm a fan. ETC has an opportunity to draw cards, but remember, it comes at the cost of giving his opponent cards, too. This is definitely a problem that a lot of priests have in the mirror. Their opponent has a Northshire Cleric they can't remove. And if ETC doesn't trade into the Wild Pyromancer, he's potentially giving Firebat a ton of card opportunities. Although, truth be told, if Firebat had Circle of Healing, he probably would have used it last turn, because he would have played Pyromancer, Silent, Circle of Healing, draw a bajillion cards.
Yes.
And most likely the game would be over very soon after.
In the last minute.
Like this play, because if Firebat wants to draw a card, he's only got 1 mana remaining, and it buffs the Light Warden out to be able to trade into the Northshire Cleric on the following turn. Very good recognition from ETC to just make sure that he kind of has a check to the guaranteed play that Firebat can do. Obviously, you can expect a lot more. Maybe he has extra arms, which would be pretty devastating. But you have to operate with what you know. ETC knows that Firebat could trade, draw a card, and in that case, he's got a check to it. It's the most powerful play he could make given the situation. Whew. That's tough. Play your Blade Master, it dies. Play nothing, Northshire Cleric dies. Play Divine Spirit, you're down a Divine Spirit. And you don't do anything. Like you're not drawing a card or getting any further. Divine Spirit seems like the most appealing thing out of all those.
I sort of like Injured Blade Master for tempo, and you have Psycho Pomp to revive either the Wild Pyromancer or the Injured Blade Master.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, you play Injured Blade Master, ETC could just heal Firebat's face, trade over the Northshire Cleric. And then your Injured Blade Master would have to go into the Light Warden anyway.
Sure, but ETC's not developing much behind it because he has to heal, and that does take 2 mana away from him.
That's true.
And then you get to Psycho Pomp.
Or Ahmet.
Or Ahmet.
But then if you don't trade in after you play Ahmet, I guess that works out. That's like a 3-turn setup, right? So if ETC kills the Northshire Cleric here, Firebat kills the Light Warden, then plays Ahmet, then even if ETC somehow manages to find a way to kill Psycho Pomp with whatever mana he has remaining after the Light Warden into Northshire Cleric play, then Psycho Pomp has a really good pool for rezzing. It has a Ahmet in there, it has an Injured Blade Master in there. Even Northshire Cleric can be good in that situation if Ahmet's stuck. So, win-win-win. Firebat going for the best, like, 3-turn setup that he can. So this seems like exactly what he wanted.
Yes, and I think that this sets up the Ahmet really well.
Ahmet into Psycho Pomp.
And that sets up the Psycho Pomp extremely well.
So this...
Oh, wants the Divine Spirit. Oh. He wants more mileage out of this. Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting this play.
No.
Because this challenges Psycho Pomp better? Is that why?
Yeah, but I think having an Ahmet guaranteed to live on an empty board going into a Psycho Pomp turn with an Injured Blade Master in the pool, it seemed pretty good.
Well, 4 attack versus 2 attack is a pretty big difference. 4 attack can get past a Northshire Cleric, an Acolyte of Pain, and it just generally is more useful for trying to deal with tempo.
True.
The light's name.
Ahmet here seems really hard to pass up.
Oh, yeah.
I see a dark future.
The Beamy Sidekick is a massive pickup so that Firebat can keep his tempo up, threatening everything. He also has Bonsomdi, so that also probably was a big reason why he doesn't really feel super invested in his card draw right now.
Yeah.
ETC might be in big trouble right now.
Yeah, I've liked this from Firebat because basically what he's been doing each turn is putting the most power in play or keeping the most power in play. Every single turn that he could, he left the board with as much attack on it as possible. He played the Wild Pyromancer on turn 2 instead of taking his card draw with the Northshire Cleric. He prioritized playing the Injured Blade Master and then keeping the Injured Blade Master alive over like dropping an Ahmet onto an empty board into a Psycho Pomp, which seems appealing. So definitely a cool approach.
Yeah, I think ETC just needs to draw cards right now. His number one approach, his number one concern rather, should be how am I going to come back onto the board? Oh, an Injured Blade Master. 3 cards is hard to turn down.
Yeah, it also gives his opponent health on his minions, but I'm doing that almost every time, right?
Hey, I got you, friend.
Interesting. Prioritizing the Divine Spirit onto the Northshire Cleric. It feels a little vulnerable, but it ends up working out, I guess, okay for now. The Psychopop here.
Begins.
It's the Wild Pyromancer. I don't think that's what Firebat was looking for.
No, but his pool wasn't very good. He had a Wild Pyromancer and a Northshire Cleric.
Right. And Firebat can't deal with that Northshire Cleric right now. But what he could do is put this injured Tolvir a little bit into the way. Circle of Healing was just used.
I've got more left in me.
I wonder how much Firebat wants to respect this Light Warden.
Well, Divine Spirit number 1 was used. Also, he doesn't really have any more minions to use with the... He doesn't have any more minions to use with the Amet, right? Because he's playing Bwansan next turn.
Yeah.
So, Firebat's just playing like good old like Zoo Warlock in a sense. Just like trying to tempo and grab as much advantage onto the board as fast as he can.
Continuously keeping as much power on the board as he possibly can.
It's definitely unusual. He didn't really capitalize too much on the value of a Northshire Cleric. This injured Tolvir is so annoying. Pyromancer extra arms helps clean up a little bit of it, but not much.
He can go extra arms Divine Spirit and just make this Northshire Cleric massive.
Yeah, he's pretty all in on the Cleric at this point then, right?
Yeah.
Like a single Topsy-Turvy
Yeah,
destroys it.
Yeah, single Topsy-Turvy. Firebat's already used his only copy of Silence. But Firebat has a ton of counter pressure, and ETC doesn't really have a way to set up for a win because he needs to deal 30 with both Divine Spirits gone.
Yeah,
there's no way he has
that's
enough mana to buff the health up enough, heal it enough, especially since Firebat's just going to trade into this. He realizes that he has a massive board position. It's very unlikely that ETC can chew through it. And then with both Divine Spirits gone, Firebat just needs to keep the board in check, and eventually he'll find the tools of his own to swap a high health minion and be able to kill him. So... Alright, so that picks up a Northshire Cleric, and that's it. That Bwansan.
So ETC can clear off a couple of these minions with Wild Pyromancer, more arms, and Inner Fire. Doesn't seem very good. I think in his mind, he's probably going to have to just play for tempo. I'm looking at things like Double Injured Blade Master, but it's really easy for Firebat to get the trades. He knows the one-drops like Beaming Psychic were picked up.
I think he just needs to set up for a massive Wild Pyromancer next turn. Hold on to more arms. Maybe just play Acolyte of Pain and Injured Blade Master this turn. Try and like chain together some Power Word Shields with extra arms next turn to clean up the board. He needs a big swing turn, and I just don't think this is what that is.
Yeah, like I said, it's like it's an ETC. Looks like he didn't even get the attack off. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We've seen this too many times over the course of the season. You gotta play faster. You gotta play faster. That's a big deal. You just lose an opportunity to get a free trade into stuff, and like ETC could have even done that a little bit more efficient, right? He could have traded and killed off like the Pyromancer to stop any kind of Power Word Shield or like any kind of spell effect that the Pyromancer activates.
Yep.
It's just not the kind of stuff that you really want to see here.
In the light's name.
We got word, by the way, from our producers that with tiebreakers, I think it's determined that ETC will stay in Grandmasters no matter what, even if he ends up losing this match and Trevor wins one more. So they'll be tied at 4-10 if ETC 0-2s. And Shrivecrow, I believe, would have the tiebreaker edge. We can get confirmation later, but if ETC heard that, I wonder if that affects his mindset whatsoever. Either way, he is not locked in right now, and this Bonsomdi might be too late.
It only draws a Northshire Cleric.
Well played. You have best.
Game 1 over to Firebat.
Yeah, very methodical approach from Firebat. Kind of looked like some of the turns were complicated, but it seemed like Firebat's game plan was very straightforward, and that's put all the power you can on the board, keep all the power you can on the board, and trade until ETC's out of stuff, and it worked out.
Yeah, that's right. So with the priests out of the way, we'll see if the other decks in this lineup is going to be factoring in. Firebat has a no warrior lineup, as we mentioned. So it was actually pretty important for him to get that win, the priest mirror. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to see if Firebat can continue this momentum or ETC strike back.
Hello and welcome to Around the Fern. I'm Nathan Zamora. That's Admirable, you can call me, and I'm joined today by a very special player. Please state your name.
Christos Tsakopoulos.
I thought it was Pheno. Like, I've always called you Pheno at tournaments.
Well, yeah, people call me Pheno, Pheno, Phenomeno, whatever you want to
Okay,
go with.
well, I think you need to pick one of them, though. It's not just Phenomeno or Pheno.
Let's go with Pheno. Let's go with Pheno.
Pheno.
Yeah.
Okay. You're happy with that?
Mm-hmm. I think it will be easier for you.
So where are you living right now, and what's that like? What's that like for you in Hearthstone?
Yeah, now I'm just living in Greece with my parents. We have a really big apartment, and on the first floor, there's like a movie theater that my dad
Like
operates.
a movie like you guys make movies there?
No, there's no movie making in the movie theaters. You just show the movie.
So like you just show them other
yes,
people?
people come and they can watch the movie in the movie theater.
But you don't make them.
No, we don't make them. We get the movie and we show the movie in the theater.
I thought the whole point of the movie.
Just sell tickets, we don't make movies, and people come and watch the movie.
Okay. Well, I get. Let's just agree to disagree on that. Phenomeno, Pheno, Pheno, whatever you want to call it.
I'm done.
But we're in an interview.
My name is James Kostasich. My handle is Firebat. My username is based off the StarCraft player Firebat Hero. I was a fan of him and watched him on Twitch early on in his career, and then just named myself Firebat because I thought it was cool. Something about me that people don't know, I really hate spending money. I try and save it whenever I can. I recently learned how to repair a dishwasher so that I didn't have to buy a new dishwasher. I like doing stuff like that. I get a really good sense of accomplishment and pride whenever I'm able to salvage something. My favorite Hearthstone Esports memory is winning the 2014 World Championship. That was pretty tough to beat, but I'm hoping that one day I can beat that memory. Being in Grandmasters, to me, means that I get another chance to prove myself and show that 2014 wasn't a fluke and that I am still here to play. I mean, I love playing against my own region because I get to play against a lot of my friends, which is always like really fun and entertaining, and there's so many different mind games. But at the same time, I'd really love to play against Europe and really knock them down a few pegs because they're so cocky all the time. I look forward to winning the most and losing the least. I definitely don't want to lose, and I definitely want to win, so it's really simple.
My name is Fei Liang. My handle is ETC. Before Hearthstone, I was playing World of Warcraft, and when I saw Elite Tauren shift, and I think the card is pretty cool, I'm gonna try it. I think the style I like the most is combo deck, because there are a lot of win conditions, and there are a lot of ways you can win the game. My son plays Hearthstone sometimes.
Is he good?
He got rank 9. He likes Zoo list.
Are you going to teach your daughter to play Hearthstone?
Yeah, of course.
Do you think that she'll be better than him?
Probably yes, because I think my daughter is way smarter than my boy. Getting #1 in Grandmaster is gonna totally change my life. I think it proved myself, and my kids are gonna be proud of me.
ETC and Firebat going at it. Firebat up 1-0, and Firebat, he kind of went through a string of losses. He was even tweeting about a little bit of his frustration, feeling like he was in a really good spot to win some series, and took some L's, but he looks like he's in a good position to finish it and ride this one home for ETC. I gotta say, excuse me, a little sludge petro coming out here. Wow, what did I eat for lunch? Woo! Good. Apologies to TJ Sanders who has to sit here and wade through whatever else I'm breathing your way.
I don't have a sense of smell.
Gosh.
I have a terrible sense of smell.
Sorry about that. Ooh. I surprised myself with that one. Firebat, I lost my entire train of thought. Firebat's up 1-0 after the combo priest mirror. It seems like ETC, at least almost every series this season, has had a moment where I have to ask him what happened there.
Yeah.
And it's either missed damage or roping out, or roping out and missing damage and not attacking, or perhaps even just fundamental, like why was he like targeting the Northshire cleric in that position as opposed to trying to like load up all the tempo on the board. The previous Priest Mirror, he lost the game with 2 Injured Blade Masters in hand, and I think Injured Blade Masters is like one of the most important cards to have played onto the board, given that it generally beats almost every minion outside of like Bwansamdi and Ahmet in a head-to-head battle. And he had all these other cards like Circle of Healing, Divine Spirit that he never really got to stick onto things. So, you know, when it comes to like these decisions that ETC goes for, that's a deviation from the norm, it makes me really wonder, like, what was his game plan in that situation? And I get what it was, which was to get card draw, but is that really what wins the game?
Yeah, I don't think so. From that point, it's very hard to imagine a situation where he wins the game, but he has found himself in those situations a lot where he doesn't know, but then makes a play that gives him 0 chance, right? Instead of the play that gives him a 5% chance.
Exactly.
Which those percentages add up over the course of a season, and maybe could be a contributing factor to why ETC's 4-8 instead of 5-7. And yes, we did get confirmation during the break because of the head-to-head that ETC has over Strifecrow. He is 2-0 over him during the season. It does mean Strifecrow is facing relegation right now. And there's no way for him to overtake ETC. Very unfortunate. A sad time, Dan. Not for ETC, though. And since we are on a delay, I don't know if he knows yet. So he's going to be playing to the best of his ability.
Well, we'll see. I mean, nothing is set in stone 100% yet. I think we just have to make sure to do our final tallies and consult rule sets, because it's a really big deal, right?
It is a very big deal.
You don't want to be wrong on this one and then retroactively change things. We ain't Steve Harvey out here. The Miss Universe pageant or whatever else contest that he messed up on. Definitely want to make sure you get it right.
This is a pretty complicated matchup from both sides. From Warrior, it's about maximizing damage. Or sorry, from Paladin, it's about maximizing damage. From Warrior, it's about maximizing your healing. And finding certain pressure points that can offset the power turns from the Paladin. Because Warrior can reasonably out-armor and out-heal the 50 damage combo. But because of Zephyrus and because of Consecration and True Silver Champion and Hammer of Wrath, the Paladin can piece together like 60+ damage. So it's about the timing of your armor gain, and it's about the timing of your pressure. To try and keep the Paladin on the back foot and not let them have the time to be able to do all the combos plus get additional damage. So from Firebat's perspective, everything goes face. If he can chip a minion damage face, he's going to. And he uses the Blessing of Wisdom on the Eternium Rover because he's trying to force ETC in this awkward position where he doesn't want to attack because he gives Firebat cards, but he wants to attack because amassing his armor total is important. In that case, I like the use of the Warpath here just to gain the extra armor and, reduce the impact. The awkward thing for Firebat is he always has to worry that ETC is going to give him an extra bit of card draw. Because now he's incentivized to kill this Eternium Rover because otherwise he may be facing like too large of hand size.
Yes.
At a certain point in the game, it could overdraw.
Like the next turn.
Like right now. He can't play anything. ETC could force an overdraw here and get them essentially free damage in with Eternium Rover.
Yeah, maybe that's what you end up going for. Just attacking. If they overdraw Shivala. Or Holy Wrath.
Or Holy Wrath.
My hand is too full.
Not a big deal of an archer.
I mean, that's 1 damage to fake, Stan. Sometimes that could be the difference maker.
No, you're right. It is a possibility that does end up making a difference. Firebat's like, yeah, knew it. Don't even bother contesting that anymore. New Hoarder can come down in this position. I think Salad's Pride would overdraw him.
Yeah, because he still has Novice Engineer in his deck. And
Mind if I roll knee?
one more thing. No, he overdrew. Actually, no. He doesn't have any more 1-attack minions left in the deck.
It's pretty surprising.
He doesn't play an Acolyte of Pain.
Well, I believe Salad's Pride is a 1 health minion effect.
Oh, yeah, 1 health.
You're thinking about Crystology.
Crystology, yeah.
So what attack?
1 health. He actually doesn't have any. Has he played 1 Loot Hoarder or both? Okay, well now it'll only draw a Novice Engineer.
Yeah, that's why I think the double Salad's Pride was interesting, right? Just gets him so much card draw consistency.
Yeah.
Because Salad's Pride, you can draw the Salad's Pride, which draws you everything else.
Mind if I roll knee?
ETC going for the armor up plan. This is something that Gallon talked a little bit about last week, which is the threshold that you need to get past the Holy Wrath. How a lot of warriors prioritize the first 13 armor in order to survive a Holy Wrath setup from the double Holy Wrath, right? And be able to get past that burst. That's why a lot of them actually held on to things like Shield Block. Or sorry, they don't really need to feel the need to hero power. Instead, you can rely on things like Shield Block in the later stages of the game because they can just survive the 2 Holy Wraths and then clear the board when they commit to the Shivalas. However, it seems like ETC is going for the old-fashioned route, which is the Control Warrior versus the Freeze Mage, which is theoretically, if I just keep gaining armor, I'll never die.
Yeah.
Which is true.
You do need a lot more armor than you think you do.
Yeah,
It's not just as simple as, I'm at 50, we're good. Because there's, the Zephyrus that you have to worry about. There's the Truce Over Champion, the Consecrations, the Hammer of Wrath.
Right.
And then there's just having the board clear for the double Shivala turn at the very end of the game. It's all about timing of the armor because you don't have the time to just hold on to all of your armor gain and then use it all in the turn they go off with the Shivala, because then there's a Shivala on the board that's going to hit you for 7 and negate some of that.
Right.
So, and then there's also the timing of Dr. Boom Mad Genius, because Dr. Boom Mad Genius is a burst of 7 armor but has no impact on the board outside of Shield Slam. It also reduces the average armor you gain over 5 turns, because with the hero power you're gaining 10 armor on average over 5 turns, whereas you're on average you gain 1 blast shield, which is 7 armor. So finding a turn to use Blastmaster Boom later on to the game can sometimes be crucial too. Just because you do want that burst armor at some point, because you only make up for that over the course of 4 turns. But you don't want to use it on a turn that you're going to be taking a lot of damage.
Right.
So there's a lot of balance, and we've seen, we actually see in Americas that Paladin has a pretty decent win rate against Warrior, because it feels like, 1, not everybody has an optimized list for Paladin. They cut some armor gain in some scenarios. And 2, a lot of players just kind of mess up the efficiency of their armor gain late game, at least in our region. Whereas in Europe, if you watch this matchup, it's like the Warrior wins every time. It's completely one-sided. It's one of like the biggest like regional differences in win rate. I would say Shaman is also a big one, where players in Europe had like a much higher success rate and win rate with Shaman than they did here. Some of that's due to tech differences. Like they latched on to Stormbringer earlier than we did, but very interesting to see back and forth how it works out.
Yeah, generally Europe seems to have figured out the matchup a little bit quicker than some of the other America's Grandmasters, and led to some suboptimal play, I think, from the Warriors' perspective. And it was something that I think like I had a hard time understanding, because I remember even watching, because like Gallon explained this while he was casting last night. But he was even saying, because he was one of the players who were like, oh, do you need to go for this armor up plan at all? And we were like, why isn't he going for it? Because we saw Purple, one of his buddies, actually going for it and winning because of it.
Yes, and Muzzy won last week because of it, and Saiyan could have won, but wasn't efficient with his armor gain. He used his shield blocks way too early in the game and chained them, so we didn't have the armor gain plus Ziliak's health gain after the first Holy Wrath, because the first Holy Wrath didn't deal enough damage to him. It just chipped off his armor, and he lost because of it to Bloody Face. So we've seen like every side of it, right?
Yeah, it's a tricky matchup though.
It is. It's very tricky, because sometimes you don't get the armor gain cards.
Yeah.
And you have to realize that quickly. All right, I didn't have a Turnium Rover. I don't have Weapons Project. He's done too much damage to me early on. I can't recover. I need to go all in on pressure. It's about knowing when to like flip the switch and say, I'm never getting there with armor.
Speaking of which, Firebat, 3 cards left in the deck. Zephyrus, still not active.
Oh, geez. It's both timeouts, right?
Yes.
This would be the ideal turn to get a Tyrion off. Though ETC does have double Weapons Project, and you just drew 3 cards. So a lot of times it's you Shirvala, Banker, Holy Wrath, Shirvala, Banker, Holy Wrath, Zephyrus, get Pyroblast, the next 2 Pyroblast.
Firebat gonna play the odds. He's gonna hope that he doesn't draw Shirvala next turn.
Wow.
I wasn't expecting this play. I thought, if anything, Firebat might toss in like an Equality or a Shrink Ray and just kind of like let that be a discount for the Shirvala, and then maybe draw a timeout, then play Zephyrus, because the chances are he was going to draw a timeout next turn. 2 out of 3 times, he activates it, plays Tyrion, sets it up. This, instead, is challenging whatever ETC is playing and saying, well, you want to remove this. So if you have Warpath, if you have like Restless Mummy, you're going to want to use it now. And I got to say that this is a very interesting deviation. I want to see if it works out.
Huh.
I don't know if it's going to work out, because I haven't really seen early Shirvalas that usually pan out for the Paladin. And it might just go to show you how Firebat has very little confidence that he's going to do well otherwise.
No tomb can hold me. No tomb can hold me.
Wow. All right.
Firebat draws the other Holy Wrath. Now he has a 1 in 3 chance of landing onto the Shirvala.
If he took through his last turn, he has to take it this turn.
Nope, he drew a timeout.
Yep. So now
he might have to. Does he have to go for like a Zephyrus shuffle, a Zephyrus play?
Well,
I don't know. He's gonna try to go for it again. Gets 25
cards.
But now has no Holy Wrath left, so he needs to find a way to get 17 damage from 2 Zephyrus. Now, you could just say it's as easy as 2 Pyroblasts. But over the course of the next 2 turns, ETC is going to gain 4.
Let me
at the very least.
Yeah, I don't think it's a Pyroblast. I think it's Tyrion.
And then there's the second Weapons Project that he has to worry about.
Tyrion also is still a 6/6.
It is.
Oh, 2 more just getting in the way. Ziliax can also just get back into this game here.
I think I want to maximize healing and play Snip Snap alongside the Ziliax.
I like it.
Gain the 7 and then gain the extra 2. I mean, he could do it both ways. Ziliax and
Unity, precision, perfection.
Yep, looks good to me. Again, with Firebat having Shrink Ray and Equality in the hand, I wonder if he was just kind of use that aggressively. Because he also had life, right? He could just kind of wait to get to that point.
This is my suggestion.
And if he goes for Tyrion here, then he can't banker.
He's going to have to banker.
Yeah, but he has to banker. So.
Yeah, and he's hoping that he doesn't have AoE clear of any kind.
Stash that away.
Yeah, it looks fine to me. Like, if you're just kind of going down resource, you can just clear the board with, like, Plague of Wrath, and then just, like, silence another Tyrion that comes out. Shield slam it. Everything looks good to me. You can even just play Tomb Warden.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Ah, yeah, he just clears off the board. I was like, if he plays Tomb Warden, he actually gets Firebat an opportunity to, like, build another board.
Yeah, but he's at 26, and Firebat has a Zephyrus.
Well played.
Yeah, I think Firebat looks like he's close to tapping out, ends up conceding. It was definitely worth a shot. I mean, he had the opportunity of he saw a 1-4 workout earlier with PNC, went on him.
Yeah, and I think that's just Firebat realizing that without Zephyrus active that turn, he's running out of time very quickly, and he needed to take a risk, or else ETC is just going to kind of run away with the game and the armor gain in general. But it didn't work out, and when plays like that don't work out, it looks really silly, but it's hard to imagine, like, both timeouts, you know, bottom 3, Zephyrus not active, not even guaranteed to be active the next turn. You're not even guaranteed to have something to do the next turn. So he needed to give himself some chance of having a way to win in the next few turns.
I mean, he was guaranteed to do something the next turn, though.
Well, he could have if he drew Holy Wrath, he would have been in the same exact position.
Oh, wait, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
But he also still had the health to wait for that. So, you know, make no mistake. I'm sure the first thing that Firebat will tell you is timeout, being the last 2 of the 3 cards in my deck, is the reason why I feel like I couldn't do anything. And I think we're going to move past that. We acknowledge it's true. But he also was at, like, 30 X life. And Warrior's not exactly a class that really punishes you for that kind of thing. And he held on to cards like Shrink Ray and Equality for a long time. And I think it was because he wanted to use it to get past certain minions on the board. But I think that you can still afford to wait a little bit. Like, if he's going up against Druid, that makes an entirely different scenario, because Druid can just, like, pressure you from the hand and kill you, as we saw earlier with PNC versus Amnesiac.
Yeah.
So my argument is that I respect that Firebat made a judgment call in that spot, and it's really easy for us to say. But I do think he pulled the trigger a little bit early on that.
Maybe a little early, yeah.
Either way, we're going to game number 3 now. Now we can see a matchup that Firebat has even declared is Paladin favored, right? He likes this matchup from the Paladin's perspective, and he's one of the first people showing us what you need to do. Things
have changed since the time that he did say that. That was before the Americas had really adopted the Bwansamdi deck that Hunrace made popular. It was also, you know, before the Paladin deck went through some changes and kind of became, you know, like a standard list developed. Firebat has even changed that and gone with the list that Eddie's been playing quite frequently, which is the Solid's Pride version with Blessing of Wisdom, the super aggressive draw version. You do have more early game minions to be able to play that can help contest, but you do have less kind of on-demand removal. Not too much less, because you still have 1 quality, 1 Shrink Ray. But you have, like, 1 less True Silver Champion, 1 less Consecration, 1 less Prismatic Lens. But overall, I think it's not that big of a deal. I think it doesn't affect the matchup that often. It's all about whether or not you can find those big removals on time. And Subdue is a big one, because it comes down early and allows you to stop the Priest from snowballing, which I think is important.
This extra arms no matter what gets killed by the True Silver Champion, and that's exactly what Firebat's banking on. Even had that subdue like you're mentioning. True Silver Champion seems pretty good. ETC's card draw shut down from the very get-go, hoping that he can secure tempo and get the card draw later on. That being said, Psychopomp is ready to go, and it would revive that Cleric.
The end begins.
However, the follow-up with the Consecration is devastating. Elven Archer is good enough. Even Wild Pyromancer and Flash of Light, really good here. Just Firebat having the answers. ETC shut down, and with all spells and one minion, things are already looking bad for the Priest.
Yeah. There's a lot of things to discuss with what the game looks like if you try and hold on to Northshire Cleric and protect it, but the way ETC's hand was panning out, there was no guarantee that trying to hold on to it and protect it would net a good result, because he didn't have Tol'Vir or Blade Master or Circle of Healing. And he did have a Psychopomp, so it's like, yeah, I want to prioritize getting minions on the board and stop my opponent from, you know, dealing, from playing minions at risk of letting me draw in cards. Crystology has a Novice Engineer.
I wonder.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Firebat and how he can try to get maximum clear. It seems like Pyromancer can't find a way to clear guaranteed.
He can just Elven Archer the Northshire.
Yeah, he could subdue in that position, but I don't think you want to.
Yeah.
Subdue, I think, would clear everything.
I hope you like my invention.
The Elven Arch. Shooting down the Northshire Cleric. I wonder if Firebat also wants to use his Blessing of Wisdom in this spot.
Could end up being wasted if ETC just decides to not attack with it, and then you trade into it next turn, but...
Yeah, this is a bad spot here for ETC.
Yeah.
He needs to maximize his board tempo. The way I feel like you win this matchup is to pressure super fast and force him to have timeouts. Not by just necessarily drawing cards. So I agree with like the early game line from ETC, which is like, well, I try to maximize my board pressure, but it doesn't seem to line up really well if they have that early game True Silver Champion. But more importantly, like, what does ETC do now? I'm legitimately just thinking he just more arms and hits the face. Like, I don't know how else he's going to get there. If he just plays cleanup, he's playing exactly into Firebat's hands, just to give him time and utilize these 1/1s as taunt minions.
He can Topsy, More Arms, Divine Spirit.
If he Topsies, More Arms, and never set Ritualist, that's maximum tempo, I guess.
Life is enough.
That's about as good as it gets. Which is not very good.
It's pretty awful play, like in a sense of just the quality, rather, not necessarily that ETC's play was bad. I think that's the best he can do for the tempo.
I hope you like my invention.
Mind if I roll need?
I think Firebat is not afraid of
The
anything.
light bends to life.
Yeah, there's just no way he can die right now. Double Divine
He
Spirit.
can. Power Word Shield, double Divine Spirit, Inner Fire.
Yeah. It would be exactly a 4-card combo.
4-card combo. What a way that would be to end the series, TJ.
It would be, yeah.
Power Shield would make the Psychopomp on the right a 3/7. You would double it twice. So multiply by 4 to 28. 28 plus 2 is 30. That would have been a clean kill.
So if that's the case, Firebat should trade in the Elven Archer into the 3/4 to not die. But then there's also a 5-card combo that kills him, which is Power Word Shield, draw the Circle of Healing, Circle of Healing, then double Divine Spirit, Inner Fire.
Yeah, but
So
forcing him to have one more card is a huge difference.
I guess, yeah. I mean, how much does the 1 damage to face matter, right?
It really doesn't.
It could have been Beaming Sidekick, double Divine Spirit Interfire.
Sure.
In which case, trading the 1 damage into the Neverset Ritualist would have been enough to stop that 4-card combo from
In the
happening.
light's name.
Interesting. Seems like Firebat has a pretty easy opportunity to use Consecration in this spot.
Yeah. He
In
could.
fact, I kind of like him to use Blessing of Wisdom in this spot too to draw another card.
So he could subdue the Psychopomp, Consecration, trade in the Elven Archer to the Neverset Ritualist, Blessing of Wisdom, the Novice Engineer, which would be the only minion left on board, and attack face.
Yeah.
If that's what he wants to do, he could Blessing of Wisdom first on the Novice Engineer and attack face. And then he still has a board clear available to him, even post. It's whether or not he feels like he has the ability to part ways with the Subdue onto not super valuable of a minion with the 3/4 Psychopomp.
Right.
But that's the biggest minion ETC has in play right now.
I think Firebat sees the quality in Consecration and feels like it's more valuable to hold on to that. I personally like Blessing of Wisdom. I think it's perfectly fine. Firebat opting to Shrink Ray.
Reporting for duty.
Wansamdi is the best card here for ETC. Does not find it. Wild Pyromancer.
He could Divine Spirit the Neverset Ritualist to keep it alive and push 1.
When this deck fails, it fails spectacularly, TJ.
Yes, it does.
Firebat draws a timeout. I am pretty intrigued by the hold on the Blessing of Wisdom. Part of the reason why I feel like it's good is because of what we're talking about. It's going to stick a minion on board and draw a couple cards. And I don't want to give the Priest time to draw Wansamdi. I want to try to wrap up the game.
Yeah.
Reporting for duty.
I don't think you need to consecrate this either. So Blessing of Wisdom is used as a disincentive for ETC to attack with it. Sure. Powered Shield. If he draws Wansamdi, it's a big moment.
Firebat's got to have a pretty strong read of what the cards are in hand.
Yeah, it's got to be combo spells.
Yeah, and at this point, pretty much only Divine Spirit Interfire.
So one thing that I don't mind about the... Well, I think you can subdue this for sure. But one thing I think he needs to also consider is like getting Shrivala cheaper and then being able to just play Shrivala on board. Because most priests can't answer a 7/5.
Yeah.
Reporting for duty.
ETC uses only a copy of Silence, so Firebat doesn't have to worry about taking this Injured Blade Master off the board because there's no way for ETC to really capitalize on it still being there. I mean, this is unbelievable that Firebat just hasn't had to do anything. He just has had to hero power each turn. Essentially, I mean, he's floated more than 10 mana over the past 2 turns. And he's still at 30 and still not under any threat of dying. It's... pretty unbelievable. There's some card draw. Something for Firebat to fill his mana with.
Reporting for duty.
Wansamdi still a potentially impactful card here. ETC picks up Beaming Sidekick.
Hey, I got you,
Was
friend.
there a way for ETC to chain some draws and do a win there?
Is there a powered shield left? There is. Powered shield,
There's
beaming
2.
sidekick, divine spirit, air fire.
He would have to circle of healing there, so it'd be power word shield, power word shield.
Well, there's only one shield in the deck. Zephyrus is active now for Firebat.
Oh, yeah, there's only one
Probably
shield.
gonna offer him Tyrion like Shadow Word Pain.
What's the punish for
Your
Tyrion?
wish is my suggestion.
Oh, Shadow Priest, why?
Defender of Argus always makes its way into those.
in the light.
And how often do you get this luxury, Dan?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
So that'll pick up a Northshire Cleric.
Yeah. DJ, if Firebat finds a way to lose this game,
There's no way. He's got 2 timeouts. He's got a quality consecration.
I don't think he's going to, but like, I feel like he's given ETC a lot of time.
You're following light.
Is someone injured?
Yeah, this is a lot of cards.
Yeah, I mean, he did give him a lot of time, but at this point, I just don't think it's possible.
Right, because the timeout and the Ashbringer.
Yeah, he
And
only
the
needs 1
Zavala.
combo. He's got 2 timeouts. He's got a quality consecration, so he's got a board clear.
My hand is too full.
So Firebat can clear this, and then he guarantees kill the following turn. Or can he kill it this turn? Because he can shuffle in Shrivala and Holy Wrath if he just draws with Holy Wrath this turn and timeout, I think. Definitely want a timeout here. I think you just Holy Wrath the face so you get the card draw, and then
It's guaranteed next turn.
it's guaranteed next turn.
Yeah.
I think Firebat's just mapping it out.
Yep. Just trying to double check that to make sure that he has that guarantee over a few turns. Yep. That'll make Shrivala cost 0, and all the boxes will be checked for a fully loaded combo.
I must move quickly.
Well played.
Yep, and ETC recognizes
You have best.
nothing he can do in this spot, and that's gonna do it. The only way Firebat lost is if timeout again for like the last 2 cards, but even then he was guaranteed with the
He was
Holy Wrath.
guaranteed. And takes a sip from his
Victory
giant
sip.
mug.
Very nicely done. Firebat improves to a 6-7 record. One more victory would put him close to playoff contention, but unlikely given that Muzzy gets the win, and whoever wins between Muzzy and Gallon will also have a 7-win record.
Yeah.
So we'll see who ends up getting the last laugh in that division for the final spot of playoffs.
Yeah. Who's Firebat's last opponent?
Firebat's last opponent is Strife Crow.
Okay, so
And that was a potential relegation match.
Yeah, so he won't even be able to improve his tiebreakers much. And if there is a 3-way tie, which would be his, I guess he could 2-way tie with Gallon if Gallon loses and wins one. There's still a chance, but because his last opponent has a low amount of wins, his tiebreaker 2 is going to be naturally lower because even if he beats him, he won't get that many tiebreaker 2 points. So still a chance.
Okay, let's go
Small
ahead
one.
and check in with Firebat after his victory. Firebat can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. How's it going?
It's going all right, not too bad. So let's talk a little bit about going into this week. I guess we chatted a little bit on Omnistone yesterday, but for the people who didn't hear it, what were your thoughts heading into this week's of games?
I mean, my thought was a little bit nerves because I kind of had to win. I either had to win or Purple had to win, and I didn't want, even if Purple won, I didn't want it to be that I don't get relegated just because purple won for me, kind of. And I feel like I'd owe him one. And I didn't want that on my shoulders. I want to prove that I'm here because I'm me, not because, someone else loses more, but because I actually win, So, yeah, I didn't want to not get relegated just because Strife Crow lost the most. I wanted to not get relegated because I won. So it was really tense and really nerve-wracking, but...
yeah, no handouts, right?
That's what we exactly.
Got it. Let's talk a little bit about the games a little bit here. So game number 2, the Paladin versus the Warrior. You went for a pretty early Shivala Hail Mary attempt. Can you talk a little bit about why you felt like that was the turn you needed to go for it? Because, very clearly, Zephyr's not being active was a big thorn in your side for a while.
Yeah, I really wanted to play Tyrion for the last 5 turns, but my Christologies were a little late. So the Christology didn't draw. My second Christology drew 0, and my Lion only drew 1. So I was in a spot where I was actually not completing the Paladin goal in time. Like I wasn't doing the 50 very quickly at all. I was going to have 3 turns where I sat there and did nothing, where he got to press the armor up button. So he would get to 51 naturally that way. And he had only played 2 mana gain 6, so he has another 2 mana gain 6. He has 2 3 mana gain 5s, and he has 9 mana gain 7. And he has the ability to put large mechs that are going to force me to clear to stop Ziliax from coming down, because I know he has a 5/4 Ziliax. So I was like, all right, there's no way I ever naturally win the game by just going through and drawing the deck normally. So I was like, we got 25% here to maybe force him to have to do something weird, like play a Brawl to kill my Shivala, which would allow me to potentially play Tyrion on the following turn still. And, if I get 25 damage on top of that, maybe I could just win. So I went for the 25% chance. Even it's less than 25% because I also need to get the ability to get the Zephyrs active to win from that spot. But overall, I think it was just like a really crummy spot, and my choices were either lose 100% of the time or win 15, 20% of the time. So I go for my odds to get the 15, 20%. Didn't get there. Not too sad about it because I know coming into the next match, my Paladin's got 2 slightly favorables.
Yeah, you're kind of talking about it. It makes sense, too, given that I think, TJ was pointing it out. He also just drew a bunch of cards. So, he could have easily gotten more into it so that the window got closed. Funny enough, he didn't have any of that life gain. He just had minions. So I think it would have been a really funny way it panned out.
He had the Ziliax, but, if you're 25 and him 2 turns in a row and then dropping a Pyroblast maybe the turn after that or a Lightning Bolt to finish it.
The Ziliax just beats me in that scenario, though. He goes to 51, I 25 him, he heals with the Ziliax while clearing my thing, and I'm dead. I couldn't even beat just the Ziliax, which we knew he had because of the Town Criers, so... Yeah, I still think it's correct just to go for it, even if he has no armor gain cards, and the odds of him having no armor gain cards right there is absurd with how many he had left. I can't believe he got such a high armor total without playing any. He really played the matchup quite well.
Yeah. I was a little bit on the fence, but hearing your thoughts, I think I'm sold on that. So nicely done. Last game, really cool that you're able to follow up because we were talking about at the beginning of the season, you were one of the first people talking about how you felt like this matchup was good for the Paladin. And it seemed like you followed up through. I did want to ask a little bit. Do you find it kind of funny that other people are playing Highlander Warrior, and then this is the week you're not even bringing Warrior whatsoever?
I don't think it's that funny. I think it actually makes sense. Warrior is got the lowest win rate in Grandmasters right now. Control Warrior, pretty much. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was the lowest. One of the lowest win rate classes. It's definitely the lowest win rate of the deck that's brought the most, I would say. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense because Warrior is like a powerful class on ladder. It's a powerful class in the game. It's like, well, if Control Warrior is not the ticket, let's try and explore some other options during the last week here to see if maybe there's something that really works. So I think a lot of people are really searching for a way to utilize the class because I think the class is well positioned. It's just maybe the format's not lending to it nicely enough or something's going on. I think the Priest versus Warrior matchup has been getting closer and closer as the season's gone on. And due to the fact that gap's been closing, Control Warrior becomes less and less appealing. So people are searching for a replacement. I didn't bring it because I feel like the deck is kind of weak. So, yeah, I don't know, maybe Highlander Warrior is the way to do it. Eddie, I saw before my game started, got a win with it. But, I don't know, in testing Highlander Warrior seemed awfully sketchy. So,
It is. I have a question.
Go ahead.
Where'd you get your mug?
My mug? My girlfriend's aunt gave this to me for Christmas. It has branding on it. I've been trying to hide the branding. So am I allowed to say the company where it's from?
Probably not.
All right, well, I can direct
safe.
message you it later.
Yes.
But,
or just tweet it out. I don't know.
Sure.
But I'm
I got in
curious.
trouble for the ears before, so I gotta be careful with what I show on the stream.
Got it. Yeah.
You know what, Firebat?
Just play in the empty white box next time, please. Firebat.
Blizzarders are such sticklers, man.
Fine. For reference, OTK Paladin at a 47% win rate and Warrior below 40%. So the OTK Paladin seems much better positioned. And of course, it was specifically targeting other decks as well, which is partially why. Either way, Firebat, congrats on the victory. We'll see you later this weekend for your match against StrifeGrow.
Thank you.